My husband passed away almost 3 years ago, leaving me a solo mom of a pre-tween. I've learned a lot about who he really was since then. Let's just say if he were alive, we wouldn't still be married. About 6 weeks ago, a process server showed up trying to serve him with a court order to submit DNA for a kid. I gave him the copy of the death certificate and sent him on his way. Shortly after that, a woman showed up on my doorstep saying that the kid she had with her was my late husband's child. Is it? I don't know, and I don't care. He kind of looks like him, but also looks young enough that they would have had to have been conceived very, very shortly before his death. I told her that he was gone and where she could find his grave. She almost immediately started demanding her half of his estate. I laughed and told her that half of nothing was nothing, and she was welcome to that. I've been informed that I might be the idiot because while it's true that there was no estate, there were assets that passed outside of probate. One of those assets was a rental property that his parents gave us years ago, deeded with him and me as joint tenants with rights of survivorship. In short, it became mine when he died. I've already sold it, and that will be the money that will send my kid to college. Legally, I'm good. I already talked to my attorney about this. While I feel bad for this child, I also have a child of my own to look out for. There was no will in place for him. In my state, interstate inheritance laws say that if the only heirs are me and my child, then the first $50,000 of the estate go to me, and my child gets half of what's left. If this does turn out to be his child, then half of the estate would go to me and half to the children, i.e. my child would get 25% and the other child would get 25%. However, that's a moot point because his estate was an empty bank account and $40 in cash. Everything else passed outside of probate. A good estate attorney is worth every penny, even if I never could get him to meet with her to do his damn will. There was no life insurance. I'm in the US and my child is receiving survivor's benefits. They aren't huge, but they do pay for the therapy bills. He hasn't worked for most of our marriage, but luckily he did have enough credits to qualify. At this point, I'm not opposed to helping the other child receive the same benefits, since it won't affect mine. However, my attorney has recommended holding off on this because we don't know what she's planning. She assures me that if the other mother files with Social Security, they will backdate any payments to at least the date filed, so holding off won't affect the total amount if it does turn out to be his child. I don't know if she knew he was married at the time. My husband's parents are alive, but our relationship is strained at best. I haven't told them about any of this and have done my best to keep them believing that their son was a saint. Am I the idiot for refusing to give my late husband's possible affair baby any money? Not the idiot. I would have said, he died with a ton of debt. Let me get your info so I can transfer half of it to you. She would be out of there so fast. There was no estate. Even a known kid of his would have no right to the money from the sale of your house. Exactly this. The best that baby mama can hope for is survivor Social Security benefits for the child. But baby mama would have to prove that husband was the daddy. The gall of this woman to show up at your door, I banged your husband and had his baby and now you must give me money. Too bad for the kid, but she's reaping what she sowed. Do not lose sleep over this. I like the phrase, my flabbers are so garsted right now, LOL. You'd be surprised by the amount of people that wildly come out of the woodwork when someone dies. After my husband passed, not one but 2 different women wanted his life insurance because they were the love of his life. One went far enough to call JAG. OP, you need to focus on your child and your finances. The property legally belongs to you and there's no proof your late husband was the other child's father. Your priority is your own child's future. I get matching tattoos, but each other's names? I really can't do it. A tattoo is permanent unless you want to pay more money to remove it. So to me, it's permanent. My boyfriend and I have been together for a year or so and he asked me if we should get each other's names tattooed on each other. I immediately said, yeah, no thank you. He was like, why? What's wrong with getting each other's names? I'm sorry, but no. I told him I refuse to put anyone's name on me if it isn't me or my twin sister, and only my twin sister because she's the only person in my life for all my years of living, or my kid's name. He said stuff like, this could actually show our love towards one another. I told him we could still love each other very much without permanently having each other's names on our skin. I just feel like it's a stretch, and you never know what could happen in the future. It's just a waste of money if we end up breaking up. Then came, my parents are still married and happy and they got each other's names tattooed. Like, yeah, I get that, but I'm not doing it. It's just too far. I respect anyone who chooses that path, but I can't do it. My boyfriend took it as I think we will break up soon and I don't love him like he loves me, but that isn't true. I just don't want something to be stuck on me when that person I thought I'd love forever turns out to be the one I no longer love. Am I the idiot, or is my reason valid? Not the idiot. The fact that he doesn't respect the fact that you don't want to do this is a great demonstration of why you shouldn't do it. Being pressured into someone physically labeling you is a giant red flag. Also, all this 1 year into a relationship is just a bit creepy, to be honest. Exactly. People shouldn't be made to do things to or with their bodies that they don't feel comfortable with. It's called consent. OP's partner is trying to invalidate their consent with a permanent decision, no less. Hey, I know you don't want to, but can I brand you as mine permanently? Because I want to, and that's all that matters. My wants are more important than your consent, babe. That's a 10-year anniversary action. You've been dating for 1 year. Not married. Not even engaged. Normal people do not push for tattoos of each other's names. Period. Sure, they might suggest it as something fun after several years of marriage, but this is not a sane or normal suggestion. Is he really controlling, really immature, or really stupid? And is that what you want to date? I really hope you are teens, because if you're older than that and putting up with him pressuring you, the person he's dating, to get name tattoo, what are you thinking? I've been with my husband for 17 years and I still wouldn't get his name tattooed, LOL. I'd be willing to bet he would let her get his name tattooed first and then somehow not keep up his end and not get her name tattooed on him. He wants her to be marked as his. I've seen it a ton. I'm 31 female married to Jake, 33 male, who has a son Devon, tween with an ex, Christy, 34 female. Jake and Christy broke up when Devon was a baby. They have shared custody 50-50 since. Christy remarried when Devon was a toddler. Jake and I met when Devon was that age as well. I love Devon, our relationship is good, but I'm not his mom, he's not my son. When Jake and I got engaged, he referred to Devon as our kid. Mother-in-law got so annoyed and said I am not his mom and never will be, so Devon is, therefore, not my kid. I told her that was true, I was just a bonus in his life and he was going to be my stepson. At that point, he wasn't yet my stepson. She told me I should ensure I don't forget my place in his life. Jake told mother-in-law that she had no right to talk to me that way, and it wasn't even me who claimed Devon was my kid. It was him claiming he was ours. Another time, after Jake and I were married, I called Devon my stepson. Mother-in-law only heard the son part and told me yet again that Devon has a mom and I'm not her. I told her I said stepson. She was like, oh, good, make sure you remember that. Devon and I had some trouble for a while. Christy encouraged him not to be nice to me like he was to his stepdad. So Devon had a period where he was disrespectful and said we're not stepmom, stepson. We did therapy and it helped. We went back to stepmom and stepson. He did make it clear he didn't want me to call him my son. I respect that. I told him I'd always respect those boundaries for him, but that he should let me know if anything changes so I can make any needed changes and keep us strong. Mother-in-law randomly asked sometime after this if I was back to claiming Devon as mine. Jake told her to stop. He told her she knew I wasn't doing that and she needed to let it go. We spent some time away from her. She apologised, mostly because father-in-law wasn't interfering like that and saw his grandson and son still. Jake and I have a son together now. Now mother-in-law has flipped a switch because Jake and I have our own son together. She's decided I'm a monster for calling Devon my stepson still, and she's now policing me saying stepson instead of son. It's not like it comes up that often, but it comes up often enough for her to be bothered by it. If I say, I'm here to pick up my stepson instead of son, or say, this is my stepson, Devon. Jake told her to knock it off, and she remembered what had happened before with her policing me like this. Mother-in-law dropped by the house to see the baby while my husband was at work. She brought it up to me again. She said that now Devon has a brother, we need to stop the step crap, and I should be calling both boys my sons. I told her to drop the topic. I did not want this to be a fight again. She ignored me and told me I needed to do better. I told her she needed to leave my house if she couldn't stop policing how I speak, and I wouldn't allow it. She hadn't expected me to follow through, and she also didn't expect Jake to be on my side. She said I was rude and refused to discuss it like an adult. Am I the idiot? OMG, not the idiot. You can't win with this lady. Okay, the new rule is anytime she mentions this again, she doesn't see either grandson for 2 weeks. Multiple mentions are consecutive weeks. 3 mentions means 6 weeks total. As soon as she mentions anything, she must leave immediately. Good luck. Mother-in-law can't stop, and she won't stop. She's proven it already, so she gets no privileges. She's going to drive a wedge between the boys if you allow her around. Father-in-law can come by on his own, but mother-in-law should not be allowed. For a long time, not weeks. Months. Make her miss a holiday or 2. Like a bad driver, mother-in-law can't pick a lane. I didn't understand why she was policing in the first place, but then changing the story and doing a 180 on it to force you to do the opposite made it 100% hypocritical behaviour of her. Be nice or stay out are the 2 options for mother-in-law. At first, she was gambling that being on her ex's side would give her better access to her grandchild. Now OP has access to both grandchildren. How exhausting for you. I got whiplash just reading that. Your husband should have put a complete stop to his mother's meddling at the very beginning. Your life is none of her business. Full stop. My older sister Izzy, 31, and I, 27 female, are very different regarding relationships and views on relationships. Izzy believes in the whole 4-year rule, where if you're with a dude for 4 years and he hasn't proposed to you, he never will. He's not serious about you and he's a walking red flag. She broke up with her high school sweetheart at 21 because he didn't propose after 5 years together, and she talked about giving him an extra year since they were both in college. That was the only reason. She said she'll always love him and wish they'd worked out. She broke up with her next partner after 3.5 years because he showed no signs of wanting to get married yet. She broke up with another guy just a few months ago because he told her that's BS. There is no proper timeline for marriage and kids unless you're really rushing. Izzy talks about this crap non-stop. She tells people to break up with their partners because the other hasn't proposed, especially straight girls and gay guys she knows. She truly believes a relationship is at the end of the line after 4 years of no proposal, but I told her I didn't believe the same. I have committed the great sin of having 2 children with my long-term partner, boyfriend of 12 years, but we're not engaged, we do live together, and we live like we're married in many ways, but neither of us is in a great hurry to get married. I don't need to be married, honestly. I'm fine without it. We're happy, but Izzy always calls it BS, and she tells me I can't be happy with the guy who'll knock me up but not give me his last name. I told her I didn't want his last name, and did she ever think he might want mine someday? It got worse when we announced I was expecting again. When our second child was born a month ago, she just couldn't stop saying this to me and questioning my boyfriend on why not propose, why he was using me, and how many baby mamas he really has. He fired back that our relationship was more stable and happier than hers was because of her stupid rules of engagement and marriage. I told her to leave for insulting my boyfriend. A few days ago, I was picking something up from my dad and Izzy was there. She accused me of being dumb and naive and of ruining my life by accepting a relationship he clearly didn't want, and she told me why her 4-year rule made sense, and I lost it. I told her to screw right off and keep her opinions to herself because I don't want to hear them all the time. Izzy said I didn't need to be rude and should be more open to what she said because she was only trying to help me and support me like sisters are supposed to. Then she said I was just an ungrateful witch who didn't appreciate love and support. Am I the idiot? Your sister sounds like she heard that bad advice somewhere, and when it didn't work out by the second time in her 20s, she started getting desperate and jealous of everyone who was still in a relationship. Not the idiot. Some introspection would do her good. I have another friend who dated her boyfriend for 17 years, loved him, mourned the kids they never had, waited for him through his long periods of unemployment, etc. They finally just ran off to Vegas and eloped. I know someone else who dated someone for around a decade, was basically married, but then he ran off with a girl he worked with and was married within a year, and he realised that the original girlfriend wasn't the one. Your sister is stupidly using arbitrary rules, but they are also, to some extent, true. There is a reason you all aren't ready, and it can simply be that you don't want to get married, but you keep saying no rush. I don't think your sister is jealous. She thinks you're getting played, and now she has 2 nibblings that may also get played. Sorry, but you are the idiot. You don't live like you're married until you are married and have the full legal protections afforded to marriage. My 25 female brother, 22, recently asked me for money. He's planning to buy a property to flip and needs an extra $10,000 to cover initial costs. 2 years ago, I loaned him $5,000 for a similar project, which he eventually repaid. Since then, he's asked for money multiple times, and I've given him around $15,000 more in total, but not all of it's been repaid. My husband, 28, and I are saving for a down payment on a house. We've reached a point where lending money is directly impacting our plans. When my brother asked for the money, I told him we couldn't afford to help this time. He called me selfish. My parents have been blowing up my phone since, demanding I help him because families should support each other no matter what. My husband fully supports my decision and thinks it's time to set firm boundaries. I agree with him, but I'm starting to doubt myself. Am I the idiot? Some extra context. I told him I'd be lenient with getting him to repay the other loans because his husband was hospitalized and he had medical bills to pay, but that's in the far past now, and he seems to think he's been let off the hook. Not the idiot. He repaid the first loan eventually, but he's not repaid the other money. Perhaps if he'd done that, you'd have the funds available to loan him now, but he hasn't, and you don't. And no, families should not support each other no matter what. That's a line used by people trying to manipulate you. Suggest that mom and dad loan your brother the money and see how fast they backpedal. I'd suggest asking your parents and brother out for lunch. At lunch, break out the details on how your parents can get a loan, mortgage, second mortgage, personal loan, whatever, to cover your brother's needs, and how happy you are that they emphasize family first. So it would definitely be fine with putting their home on the line. Emphasize how they should also loan you the same amount so you can get out of renting quicker and start building equity. Emphasize family first to them so they understand just what they're asking you. Be prepared for your parents to leave and stick you with the bill, so take them someplace that's inexpensive.